Welcome, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Facebook Live. It is the 29th of May, year 2024. Let me just check on the live stream, make sure it is streaming to our group page. Yes, it is. Okay, so I wanted to welcome our panel. After a hiatus, April is back. Good evening, April. April is a psychic, a medium. She has quite a few modalities of healing under her belt. Good evening, April. And then we have Patricia here, who is part of our core group of meditators. We meet every Friday. So PSA, if you're wanting to join us on Fridays, please do join us. We are doing an alternate Friday of reading the book A New Earth. So if you all want I think it's like a really amazing, like indescribable, the discussion that we have, because we read it line by line, and each one of us gives our interpretation of what we thought of that paragraph contains. So a lot of wisdom shared. So please do join us for a reading of A New Earth. We will move to the Power of Now after we are done with A New Earth, but New Earth will take probably two years or so at the pace that we are going, right? So, and it is alternate Fridays as well, because we love having a discussion on one Friday, and then the other Friday we have just the reading of A New Earth, which will be tomorrow. And then we have Hugh here, who's part of our group, joins us on Facebook Live. Thank you, Hugh, for joining. Thank you, Patricia and April. And then Dave and Summer have joined us online. Good to see Summer back after a long, long time. So before I get started, April, I know you have a workshop with Kelly and Kelly on Sunday, so you want to talk about the workshop, and then I'll ask you a question. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a workshop coming up, and this workshop is focusing on learning more about your energy, that you are energy, everything is energy, and about, so I don't know if everybody on here is aware, but you have an aura. I think we've heard that word aura before. So you have an aura, which are the energy bodies that surround your body and go out. So we're going to talk about 4 of those energy bodies that surround us, how those affect you, and then how to notice when you've picked up maybe somebody else's energy, or we've talked a lot about here the collective consciousness. Maybe you've picked up some of that energy, and then how to heal that energy, how to clear it. And not only that, but we're going to take it a step further and talk about expanding your ability to hold energy and to hold light, which is essentially what, if you've heard of, oh, we're going to 5D, that's what it is the ability for us to hold more light in ourselves and in our DNA. And that's what the workshop's about.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. This is one time I rearranged my whole life to be at that workshop, because normally on Sundays, that Sunday is my day to host the Europe meditation. So I moved it ahead like by a week. So we had it last Sunday. So I made sure that the calendar was clear to attend the workshop. Because then Patricia, like people from your workshop would have missed either one, like they either would have been in your workshop or jumped from the workshop to the group meditation, right? I didn't want that conflict, because Summer, Lakshmi, Patricia joined the group meditations on Sundays. So, Today, I wanted to talk about, since you're talking about energies, April. w- So what happened to be, since we had this time off, right? Um, I remember on Sunday or Sunday evening or something, I sat down, I was like, I need to go to bed so that I can wake up in the morning and make my healing broth and wake up early. But then I sat down like at 8:30 p.m. and I started I clicked on YouTube, and then I sat with my lemon balm tea and I was like, I'll do something for 15 minutes. And what drew me into YouTube was this social media pull of shorts. And I was like, what are people doing with this YouTube shorts, right? So you'd see like one person will have like a family of 5 kids or 10 kids and talk about their family, and their YouTube channel is about that. So what is going on with this consciousness that and actually, if you'll remember, Kelly had suggested a book that what was it? Your body keeps the score.
Oh, your body keeps score. The
You
body keeps score.
score. And that author was interviewed by a podcaster, and the author was also talking about the screen. People with trauma. Like at least I was observant of what I was doing. Right, I knew that I was being pulled into those shorts, and I was okay with it. I was like, I'm drinking my lemon balm tea. I'll do it for half hour or so. Let's check what people are doing. But what is this thing that people are now so drawn to their video games, so drawn to their screens? And what this author, the author of the book, Your Body Keeps the Score, was saying is it is almost like somebody who's been through trauma, instead of like alcohol or drug addiction, now screen addiction has become their replacement.
Mhm.
Since
Yeah.
you deal with people with addiction and traumas, you want to talk about this one? What is this culture where people are more and more doing these shorts, and like millions of people are subscribing to it, thousands people in, like somebody may have 400,000 people, 800,000 people, a million people, but these are shorts of people that are doing just normal things, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I it is amazing. And it has to, in a way, it has to continue to evolve just like anything else. Um, Even us, to where at first it was I remember a couple years ago where families would just record themselves like daily, and they were becoming these millionaires on YouTube. But you would literally be watching what they did when they got up all the way to when they went to bed. And it was crazy, right? It was crazy, and literally becoming millionaires from it. So it's kind of amazing. But that always has to evolve. So then that evolved to shorter videos. And then we've got TikTok that came extremely popular. And now we have these shorts, right? Shorts are like clips, like little clips, and they're meant to suck you in. They're meant to be like, oh, so then you'll go to TikTok or you'll go to Instagram and right, Mark, and you'll follow them there. So it's to hook you. They're hooks, right? So in the field of addiction, what we're really talking about is chemicals. So people become addicted because initially, whatever the action is they're doing gives them some sort of relief. It can be from trauma. It can also be if somebody suffers from anxiety or depression or bipolar or whatnot. And when they do these addictive behaviors, there is some sort of relief that's given. So that's where the physical dependence starts. But because the relief was given to the body, it starts a mental, emotional addiction as well. So they get addicted in three different ways. Um, physically, we're dealing with the chemicals, which is the dopamine, the serotonin, the epinephrine, even some oxytocin, these different chemicals. And it can be anything. Humans, we get addicted. The body likes to be addicted. Even if it's chocolate, it just likes to be addicted. It's so easy. So when they do these activities, whether it is taking drugs, it's watching videos, it's even exercising, tanning, the release of the chemicals, their body wants more and more and more. The body always seems to want more and more and more. So that's both sides of it. There's a mental emotional, and then there's the actual biological part of it. When you're watching videos, they are very addictive, and you almost get into like a trance where you're just like TikTok, you're just like scrolling and just one video after the other, almost like you can't stop. And that's the release of the chemicals. I would have to look up exactly which ones, but I'm sure there's science done on it, on which chemicals are released when we're watching YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. And I think too that it is an escape, and we are highly addicted to our electronics. I know my younger girls and even some of my younger grandchildren, they literally have meltdowns if they don't have their phone. Like they really feel like the phone is an extension of them. They have become, just so I mean, 2-year-olds can do phenomenal things on these phones that I couldn't even do. I don't even know how to figure it out, right? I'm like, I'm calling my grandkid going, how do I do this? And then, the little words, they got these little 3 letters for, I'm like, what does that mean? What does this mean? I have to get a hold of the grandkids because, so that's what I think. And I think too, everything is so electronic and everything is right there on the phone. It's little computers. I think about, the part of it, like when I was younger, we didn't have phones. We didn't have, when I first started driving, we didn't have MapQuest. How did we get anywhere? How did we do that? Like we found our way places, right? And
I just threw my maps away, but probably 6 months ago.
right.
I mean, I
But
had maps for everything.
even without a map, people would say, go to this road, turn this way, go to that road. Now we can't even get around without our phone. So definitely, I think the way that the world is, the only thing, the only benefit is, and some, it can be not so much of a benefit, is that we are much more a global world now. And in that way, we can be more connected to others. Now, there's a downside of that, of knowing way too much, and knowing all of the pains of the world, perhaps. But I do think that it does help us to be much more connected, because we can know, we can talk to, I've talked to people from other countries that I would have never, done that years ago. So I think there is an upside to it as well.
So the upside, what I see is it almost is like consciousness, like with YouTube, with these shorts. And this is the whole reason why I was watching the content, to see what content people are posting and why is it that it made it popular, right? Like one was this couple that had 8 kids or 9 kids or something, right? She's from India. I think he's African American. So it makes an unusual couple, right? But people are so interested in that story. But what I see, like you're saying, April, I do see then somehow consciousness through allowing platforms like YouTube and Google to allow, like, this person would not have been anything, right? Like they would have been a middle class family.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
they would have been like some kind of middle class family somewhere. They are allowing, consciousness is allowing, since you were talking about your workshop being about energies and how energies flow, it's like consciousness is allowing this platform to show ordinary people that they can be extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think too that
Right?
there's an element in there too where, I don't know, like the things that you go through in your life and the things that you deal with when you watch these people on these channels and they're being actually real and they have their children and their child has a meltdown, there's a part of you that can resonate with that. And there's also a part of you that can be like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not the only one that has the child melting down in the world. Right.
Yeah,
So I think,
somehow consciousness has moved into that culture of supporting like ordinary behavior, right? Like the Kardashian, Summer said Kardashians, but isn't Kardashians like more elite? Like they acted more elite, right? It's not like a normal household. I haven't watched, like I have not watched their TV shows. Thank God, like my son was
I haven't
born.
either. Yeah.
My son was born, and because of that, all my adult television got turned off. I would always watch kids shows and Bob the Builder and Blue's Clues and what have you, PBS, Sesame Street. So I have not watched. I made a conscious decision to not watch it, and then I would just go be so tired that I would go to bed, like after I was done taking care of him.
The
So
Kardashians, somebody came over to their house and they were a famous person. And they said, oh my gosh, there's so much that goes on in your house between the daughters fighting and dressing up and this and that, whatever. You should videotape it. And so she said, oh, okay. And then she just told the kids, you have to just let everything go. You know, you have to, if you're going to have a fight, go ahead and have it on that. And then that is how they started becoming so famous. And that
then
was, and she started the selfies and all of that. Nobody, you know, had thought of that. They thought it was stupid, but she made it really popular. And all of a sudden, the whole, you know, everybody was following.
is it the mother?
It started with the mother talking about her younger daughters. And then Kim started hanging out with Paris Hilton. And then Paris was doing selfies and being popular. So Kim started doing stuff with her. And then the rest of them came along. And they just videotaped everything and everywhere they were.
So the fascination with the popular people, right? Like celebrating kind of thing. But I do see that. Thank you, Summer. Thank you for explaining that.
But
I
they
would
weren't
not have
popular.
known.
They weren't popular in the beginning, and that's the whole point. You just like you said, that family would have been an average middle class family, but because they put themselves on, they're no longer average. You know, they're making money doing that.
Yeah, I guess, April, what you said, people maybe see, oh, other families have the same insanity as my family, right? The sisters fight or the brothers fight. That's what people are seeing and getting fascinated with, right? But what I see is that other thing too, that YouTube is allowing, YouTube or Instagram or whatever, is allowing the ordinary people to be have a better life just because of the revenue that is generated from what they're posting, right? So they're having a bit, so somehow consciousness is supporting that idea. Right?
There's a family that we watched that started on a small sailboat, and then, you know, first it was two brothers, and then he met a girl, and then they had two kids, and you just keep watching and watching, and now they have $4 million sailboat, and their revenue is like a couple of million a year that totally supported that sailboat, and they just keep going. And a lot of that is, of course, wearing bikinis and, you know, and just being in all sorts of different islands where whoever would, you know, you'd love to see what that's like. Very popular.
Awesome. So like people, instead of watching regular television, have started, but then it is an addiction as well. It gets you pulled into the screen, right? And then the short attention, what I noticed was the short attention span too. That you're 2 minutes you're watching this, another 2 minutes you're watching something else, because those videos are not very long. They're like 2 or 3 minutes. And they change as well. Like somebody's cooking, 1 minute they're cutting tomatoes, next minute they change, they shift the scene to almost the dish is done. Right, in third minute they're like the whole dish is done. But I do see there's a, it's the same thing as, why is it what they call the gig economy, right? Like nowadays children are not interested in having a full-time job. They're more interested in doing this, oh, I'll be an Instacart personal shopper, or I'll be a Uber driver. Like, so with my car breaking down, I've done, for the very first time in my life, I've had to do Uber. And exactly what you were saying, April, I was like, how did people, when they had problems with their car, what did they do when they did not have family? Because all I did was install the Uber app. Some Uber guy came and he picked me up. He dropped me off at the mechanic. Again, we finally, after 1 week of staying home, I was like, this is not really something that I can survive. I need to go to work. So I went rented a car. So again, another Uber to the car rental place, right? And got a car rental. I was like, there's so much facility to just keep the gig economy going, right? And of course, the week that I stayed home, I had to do Instacart. I got groceries by ordering online, because there was no way, I didn't have a car to go get groceries, right? And we had to do our celery juice and pray to the fruit gods, and my vegetables and fruits have to come in. I don't have like processed food that I can survive on for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It has to be weekly, right? Groceries have to be done. So you want to talk about that, April, and then I'll go to Patricia and you. Go ahead. April.
Yeah, it is amazing how, you know, how we live versus how it is now. And when you were talking about that, it reminded me of, well, there's a couple things, you know, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We've talked about that before, and you start at the bottom and there's survival, and you need a home, and you need water, and you need food, and we need to make sure that we make it through the night. And as humans have evolved and industry has evolved and technology, you know, we don't need that now. Now you pull up to the subway and you get your sandwich in 5 minutes, and you're angry because it wasn't 3 minutes, you know, it was five, right? So we don't have to survive, but the way that our society has been built, people have to work, and we have to work a lot. At least we do here in America. And we don't really have time to slow down, and we don't have time to meditate and to think and, you know, philosophy and ponder about the world. Now, us here on this page, we make an effort to do that. Actually, we make time to do that, but most humans don't actually have that time. But the idea here is that if we didn't have to survive so much, we would have much more time to contemplate, to think about us, to evolve and to grow. And then that made me think of the time of Aquarius, which we are in, where it is actually the time of not working so much, where we don't actually want to work. And sometimes I kind of chuckle inside when I think about the younger generation who doesn't really want to work as much, right? And I thought, well, how appropriate is that? That the time has turned, and now we're in this phase where maybe people don't want to work as much. I think that might be quite appropriate for that generation. But the reality of it is true, though. If you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, it really doesn't leave you much time for self-growth, for consciousness, for self-awareness. you have to squeeze it in. So in the end, I think that if we can stop working so much and maybe we use some of these technologies for the good, of course, that it would help us to evolve. It, I think it would create more peace too if we weren't surviving so much in the world. So that's where my mind goes with it, is I'm hoping that it will actually turn out to be better. Now, I don't agree with everything that's on social media. I do think that a lot of it is junk. However, there is freedom of free speech and freedom of expression, and anybody can put whatever they want on there, and some of it's truly inappropriate. But that's where discretion comes in. You choose what you want in your energy field. I haven't watched the news in years. I'm abreast on what's happening in the world. I know basically generally what's going on, but I don't watch the news and I don't watch it on purpose because I don't want that in my energy field. And I think that's more the key, is being responsible for what you choose to be in. You know, like you said, you knew you were watching these videos, you knew you were consuming this, but being responsible for that and saying, you know what, this isn't good for me, or choosing what you want to watch and what you want to engage in. I'm always learning, listening something, but it's all energy, it's all spiritual, it's all consciousness that I'm doing, you know. So that's my 2 cents.
Beautiful. Incredible. Thank you so much, April. Let me read what Jonathan is saying. One, Jonathan said, love this live. And then he said, these things are also meaningful to younger generations. So that maybe the spiritual work is meaningful to the younger generation as well. So let me go to Patricia. Patricia, you want to comment on this, or you have comments? Have you been drawn to the shorts and the reels and 3-minute videos ever?
Actually, I'm following, let's say, Sadhguru, and he is using social media to promote spirituality, right? And I'm following him, so he had every day new reels. There are sometimes 30 seconds, sometimes a minute, and I don't know if it's because it's so powerful and I'm so very open, but many times that couple of sentences or the point he's making, it stays with me. So I watch it for a few seconds and then I integrate it through my day. And certain things just stick for days and weeks. Like one thing he said a few weeks back that I remembered, and I do it every morning. He said, when you wake up, you know, have an intention and say, everywhere I go today, I will create love, peace, and joy. And the one thing I'm gonna let go of, one thought I'm gonna let go of, is what about me? I've been doing this religiously almost every day, and it makes a difference. But I am not drawn to just regular people. Like him, I will watch others. And I don't know if it's my ego, me being judgmental. I just, like April said, I choose not to have that in my energy field. And the same thing with news. Don't. But I am a little bit. It's like weaning myself off of that addiction is movies. And I love movies based on true people. But it's an entire movie. It's like hour and a half about someone from childhood that had a difficult issues becoming a surgeon, and their spiritual growth along the way, and what helped him, what made him difference, stuff like this. Or even the coach, not the coach actually, GM, general manager, Moneyball, when Brad Pitt is playing, the role of a guy that changed the game of baseball. based on mathematics and data. I mean, so there are those incredible moments that since I was a kid, I love those movies because they were based on true story of a person. And I realized that as they living their life, they don't even know that it was so meaningful and significant. And then at the end, someone decided to write a book or, screenplay for a movie. And now you have famous actors playing them. And then you have there's, the point. There is a message. There is something in it. And that fascinates me. So I still watch those. Every once in a while I'll pick, the movie and I do that. But when we were talking about how life gets faster and faster, and surprisingly we don't get more time, even though we're getting so efficient in doing a million things. And years back we had to learn a lot of information, and that what made us valuable. Right now all this information is on Google. So if I need to know, oh, what is this and that, Google it. So like everything goes exterior, is outside source of just information that normally we had to learn from books and on life experience. You can just Google it. And I see lately it's all written. You can rewrite definition, everything with AI. So I'm thinking, okay, so we all participate in that common knowledge. So we like add to it. And then AI is really the almost like an electronic digital being that is sum of everybody's input, right? And it makes sense, like the center mind, and each one of us, it's a little cell that brings whatever in it. But then it's interesting which way it's going to evolve. Matthias Stefano was talking about it, how exactly young generation is here for a very different reason than us, that anybody above certain age is really here to heal. But the generations after that is completely different purpose. So I can't even imagine what it's gonna happen within a lifetime still, because it's been faster and faster. Those leaps getting, much faster. Even when you watch a movie, old movies, I mean, each scene, conversation, like Out of Africa, right? With Robert Redford and Meryl Streep. It's like, it's just they're sitting and talking, and there's beautiful air. Like you have that stillness. Right now, if they redid this movie, that's like scene, boom, and done. And I wonder, why is that? Why? I don't know, maybe it's just an experiment on humanity, why, we need to do it faster right now and not slower. But I know for myself, my anxiety, my fear, my everything is almost gone when I do everyday grounding. I just go with my bare feet, stand and close my eyes and feel my heartbeat and my breath. And that's so amazing. I mean, I can't compare it to any high that I would get from social media, from movie, from alcohol, from drugs. And I think this is what Dr. Joe is talking about. What after his meditation, they actually testing what the bliss, the such a crazy pleasure the hormones are producing, that you just wanted more of it. So that's my 2 cents or 5 cents. Actually, Polish zlotys, since I'm Polish, so we do it for 2 zlotys. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. I'm not sure why everything is going faster, but even Bashar, in one of his, so even normally I'm watching something like Carolyn Mays or Bashar or Dr. Joe, and I have enough of Eckhart's content that I'm constantly watching Eckhart as well. This was
Yeah.
just an experiment. Like I sat down and it was like almost bedtime, and I was like, I'm gonna drink my lemon balm tea and let's see. I touched YouTube and then these shorts came up. I was like, let me see, because I've never watched shorts. I've never gotten into the normal shorts. Like um, I watched spiritual teachers give their shorts, but not like normal people
Right.
shorts.
But even Swan, the what's her name? Should
Teal Swan.
Teal Swan, thank you. I mean, you sent me something with her emotional thing. I did it once. It helped me. And then, you know, she said, "Oh, meditation for this, meditation for that." And like she's like, boom, boom, doing the same marketing stuff, like throwing in you, "Oh, great, do it. It's 80% off just for the blah." Right now, I just can't even stand opening one of them. It just doesn't. I'm like, you know, it's so certain ones, yes. It's like Sadhguru, I will always open, but her, I'm following her, but I just like, okay, dismiss, dismiss, dismiss. For some reason, certain ones stick and others don't.
Yeah, well, the one advice I would give Patricia is not to do the spiritual snacking. I've told you, right? Like go into one teaching, and you made an observation during group meditation where you said, what did you say? I said, so April, I told her in February when she had lost her job, I said, and I must have given this advice to Patricia a long time back, is to take the books and get the audiobooks so that she can hear it over and over again while she's driving, right? Or while she's doing her long cooking process. Listen to it, even though you may not listen to it 100%, most of it will come. And then when you repeat that, within a week or two, you would be done with the book. And then when you redo it, you'll get more of it. I mean, I've listened to Eckhart's A New Earth maybe 50 times, Power of Now maybe 30, 40 times in audiobook, because it's an audiobook and you can keep playing it, right? So
It
she's
is becoming it is becoming your meditation in a sense, right?
she finally said during group meditation, April, this is what she said. She said, maybe I'm too afraid to accelerate. Yeah, that's what she said. I said, don't you want to accelerate your spiritual growth? And she goes, maybe I'm too afraid to accelerate. Talk to her about that, April. I said, why did you not follow the suggestion that get the audiobook? Because you can absorb the teaching, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so there are numerous teachers out there that, you know, or teachings that I have listened to, and then you know, maybe 6 months later listen to again, and I'm like, did they say that last time? I don't remember hearing that one at all. Like all the time, it because there is an integration process. So you have a level of consciousness, you have a level of understanding, you have belief systems. And when something runs up against that belief system, you either reject it, or you don't hear it, or you don't understand it. It's just too much for you to take in. There's been several things, especially from Matthias, that I'm just like, whoa. It was just so much I'm like, okay. And I'm hearing his words, but my brain is like, don't understand it, don't know. But I'll wait and I'll listen to him again, you know, maybe perhaps a month later. And you will just kind of get it, or you'll take it, or you'll understand it. So there is an integration process with any new teaching. You want to know that. Not wanting to accelerate too fast is fear. That would be fear. So again, we're back into like, you know, the basis of wanting to be stable and not wanting to be afraid. And and controlling. So that would be why you would say, well, maybe I don't want to accelerate too fast, because perhaps for you it's scary, right? For me, I'm the opposite. I'm okay with it, but I would be the opposite. I would be like, this isn't going fast enough. I want more, right? Um, but really, I don't think it would go too fast, because again, it would have to hit all of your walls and your belief systems and your barriers. So you would have to listen to it again, like she's saying, and then only a piece of it would open. Only a piece of it would make sense this time. So
That's what's
your
happening with small
right.
information. I don't have to like repeat the entire book. I'm repeating a certain message.
I don't think you have to be afraid though, because I think that you and your higher self would automatically uh do it at its own pace, at its divine timing. So
The problem I had was when I first started was the confusion. The ego that I had was like,
yeah.
what the hell is he talking about? There's no way. What the hell? What's he mean by that? Nah, 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 nah. I'm telling you, you heard me say it probably 5 times on here. I would literally spend 2 years trying to prove this guy wrong, in my mind.
Mm,
And knowing that, there's other people I talk with, and they'll start asking me. I stopped pushing the book. I think we talked about that last year, because people got to put the work in. So they ask you, and now I got a couple people so interested. I didn't know whether to bring them on here. I don't know if they're, I don't want to come in and we're talking shadow and we're talking, you know what I mean? I didn't want to get trying to bring them up slow and making sure they don't get frustrated, and because they'll turn off. That doesn't make no sense and shut the door, you know.
mhm.
But yeah,
Well, your soul will do it anyways. Your higher self will do it anyways. I mean, if you're not ready, you'll shut the door. But if like, who was it? It wasn't somebody with, can't remember the story, but it was somebody with Eckhart's book and I think he's mentioned a couple of these stories where his book was given, but it wasn't time yet. So the book sat on the shelf, right? And then maybe a year or two later, they opened that book finally. So it'll just automatically happen. But it would be fear it's just pure fear, being afraid of maybe you would open too much, or maybe you would have to deal with too much or heal too much. So you just rather go slow. And I mean, ultimately you can go at your own pace, but
It has
I,
nothing to do with being worthy
no,
of no,
no, no, no.
because it's all about manifesting. And I think that was the conversation, the manifestations and so far when I think about manifesting, I do manifest, but it's always some kind of washed out version of the original what I want to manifest. So I think that when I'm suggesting, if you really want to manifest, you gotta really go deeper into,
Mhm.
well, and then I said, oh my God, if I actually do that, will I manifest what I want? And it's like,
Right.
be careful
So
what
when
you wish for kind of thing.
yeah, well, see, that's the funny thing is like when I took some of that NLP training, that neuro linguistic programming training, most people are not actually afraid of failure. Failure is kind of easy. They're afraid of success.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
Marianne
Because
Williamson wrote a whole passage on it, right?
your
We are
life
That
afraid
was,
has
of,
to change, your relationships, the people that
mhm.
you're with. So they're actually more afraid of success than they are failure. Failure is like, oh, I failed. Okay, I just give up. I won't do anything. It's kind of easy in a way. I mean, it's not easy. I'm not portraying it's fun or easy, but I'm saying it's success you know, a lot of things have to change, and we're actually more afraid of that. And then also the accountability of, if I'm successful, then what does this mean? But it has nothing to do with
Yeah,
manifesting.
you're setting a certain standard. Now you have to show up and as that person that did it, and then you can't just have an excuse, oh, but today I'm gonna
Right.
stop. You gotta, you know, people starting to look up at you at the certain level, and
Right.
you can't hide anymore.
Right. So that's still, that goes back to the being worthy and goes back to fear. Yeah. And manifesting always is linked to your sense of being worthy. It's always linked to that.
Like
So,
example with the palm tree I told you, right? That I was thinking last year, palm tree, that was like manifesting, and I got the calendar of palm trees, and then I created a magnet for the previous employer for this year about with the pictures of the palm tree. So it's like, but I wanted to manifest vacation and actually exotic island with real palm trees, and all I got is calendar and the magnet.
But if you would have taken that calendar as a, so what Dr. Joe's mental rehearsal is about, no matter what form that manifestation takes, we affirm it. Because the moment you said, this is not what I want, is you stop your creation process. You are no longer co-creator with the divine. The moment you say, no, this is the wrong way that I'm manifesting, right? I'm asking for, instead of saying, oh, I, like for me, like I go around my house, even this whole year has passed, and I'll go around and I'll see little things that manifested themselves just out of a thought that I had, right? Like the whole 2016 till 2023. So 7 years that I've been in an apartment, I would go, okay, I need to have, so in the apartment, we were not able to, like, there's not too much of a privacy in the balcony, right? Like we had buildings all around. Like I was facing the courtyard of my balcony was facing the courtyard of the apartment, right? So we would all see like walls all around, like it was not open space. So whenever I go in my backyard and I just see like there's nothing behind my backyard, like I have a lot, my lot doesn't face another house, right? The back of, normally you face back of another house, right? There's nothing behind my house. So just that, right, brings me into a state of gratitude. That brings me into a state of gratitude because it's not like I selected this house based on where that backyard was. I selected, so this is, and then this also is part of the manifestation part where I acknowledge, appreciate, and remain in a state of gratitude that I was actually looking for a smaller home, right? I wasn't looking for this home. This home is like 300 square foot bigger than the home that I was looking at. So what happened was right around the time that I was buying the smaller home, this home dropped. This home was like about $60,000 more than my home that I was trying to purchase. It dropped in price right as I was buying the other home. Look at that manifestation. And then when I look around this house, right, there are these little things that, oh, I always wanted like a bench in my shower stall. And there's like a bench, I don't really use to sit and shower in, but I always wanted that bench sort of thing, like when you're sitting and you have like a handheld shower and you're showering yourself. So I wanted that bench, and there's a bench in this, I didn't even ask for it, right? The little things like that I keep going around the house and I go, oh, Dr. Joe always said, don't meditate in your bed. He said the bed is, what memory does the bed bring? Bread brings the memory of sleeping. So if the moment you do, like if you do body electric in lying down in the bed, he doesn't want you to do it in the bed, right? So I always said, oh, in the apartment, that was all I had. Like my bedroom, I have a king size bed, and in the apartment, the king size bed took up almost all of the room, the bedroom, because it's a smaller bedroom for an apartment, right? So all I could do was do body electric on the bed. Like there was no room on the floor or anything of that sort. So I was like, when can I have a place where I can have my own meditation room or a space where I can meditate, enough space to meditate? And because it is a 300 square foot extra house, there's an extra bedroom. We have more house than what we need. And I converted that into my meditation room. So every time I walk into the meditation room, I see that you have to acknowledge, Patricia, you have to learn, instead of saying, no, this is not what I need, you have to learn how to acknowledge the manifestation.
Right, so I acknowledge it, and my daughter went to Dominican Republic, where palm
Okay.
trees. I mean, but again, I wanted to go.
Then you
So
could
I
have told her, can I go with you? I'll just sit and meditate. I'll be in another place. You can go do whatever with your friends, and I'll go stay with you. Why
No,
didn't
no,
you
we
offer?
went for a spring break with like 20 of the students. It was completely different. It wasn't that she by herself went. It was
Yeah, but you could have said, you're going, I'll go with you, right? You have the opportunity. So Patricia, that's the creativity that you need to, it's manifestation is not just sitting back and doing nothing in 3D. You have to act upon it, right? You have to act upon the manifestation. Like if you say, I want to go on a vacation, if I had that thought, I want to go on a vacation, I would call up my friend. I would call Miru and say, Miru, do you want to go on vacation to Hawaii? I would do that, right? I would make sure that in the year I saved up money to go on that vacation and make that vacation possible, right? We have to do things in the 3D world to make that happen. Does that make sense? So you have to learn how that is what will give you the confidence that the universe is actually moving in the area that you wanted to move, that you have the steering wheel and you're guiding the ship. If you don't get that confidence, right? Every time something happens for you, you don't acknowledge it. You go, oh no, that's not happening. Like you said, I'm lonely, right? The other day, 4 or 5 weeks back in one of the posts, you said, I'm lonely, nobody's acknowledging me, nobody's recognizing me. April actually even responded to your post. When I posted something, to love is to recognize yourself in the other, you said, oh, I'm lonely. But look what happened for your graduation. Somebody from your ex's family supported you, right? So how are you lonely? You are never lonely.
I think there was maybe 2 different answers, because I think for that I answered that, but what if
No, but
someone
you said, if I look for that post, I would see your first sentence is, I'm lonely. What happens if you're lonely and nobody else is recognized? Why do you have that word, I'm lonely, in your sentence? You have a daughter, you have all this extended family that is supporting you, right? Even though it is your ex's family, you're not recognizing them. The moment you
I
don't
do have
recognize,
you, I think I just meant specific, I guess, a
No,
life partner,
no,
because
no.
I don't know why I just always wanted it. And
Why in the attachment, egoic attachment to your one thought, your one opinion, you are denying and disclaiming. You're putting a disclaimer on everything that is in existence. So how is the universe going to support you when you're saying, oh, these people are in my life, but no, I'm gonna null and void their existence. They don't exist for me because I'm lonely. The moment you say I'm lonely, that means you're alone, right? And nobody's ever alone. The moment you say lonely, you've denied that your
it
inner
doesn't
being
always
is.
feel-
I'm sorry?
May-
I'm sorry.
Her voice, she cut off.
I think she put herself on mute.
Yeah, she put herself on mute.
Yeah, I'm sorry because someone parked and the alarm started to go on the, that's mean I'm not lonely because I live, there's a lot of people around. Busy, busy, busy.
Well, I'm glad you admitted to reading the book 40 times. Now I don't feel so bad because I'm probably up to about 60. I mean,
Which one?
really.
Yeah,
Which
Power of-
one? The Power of Now?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's like it's and you guys were talking about it, and I'm thinking, well, that's my Bible. And you're like Mother Mary to me. Tune in. You know what I'm saying? You got your own religion going on here.
I'm humbled. I'm humbled.
I
Thank you.
only read it once.
Come
Last,
on.
like,
There's no way. You've had to read it more than once.
I mean, I read, obviously put together, yes, maybe more certain passages, but book from cover to cover, I only read it once.
Man, because you can take one sentence. That's the only guy I know can write one sentence or maybe a short paragraph, and we can talk about it for all night. Really. I mean, he's a deep writer, you know?
That's what we've been doing for our New Earth reading. You have to come, Hugh, tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I heard you saying that. I think I might, you know? And then, hey, I'm gonna say something. You were talking about this new generation and all. It's funny. A friend of mine, her granddaughter, I picked her up and
How old is
That's
the
what-
granddaughter?
she'll be 18.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
why aren't you driving? Right? Uber's cheaper. And I'm thinking, what happened today? Why am I picking you up? Is what I'm thinking, right? But she says, well, who wants to drive? I said, what are you talking about? Man, we would kill. I mean, I got my learner's permit at 15 and a half. I couldn't, I had to, we had driver ed school, anything. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, I was driving at 14, right? My mother didn't know it, right? But anyways, it was just what we wanted to do, right? And then, oh no, insurance is too much. I don't want a car payment. And they're all like in a whole different planet. And I said, I got to thinking, I'm like, yeah, things have changed. And I remember when I was a kid, when someone would be knocking at the door, the whole family would charge the door. It'd be like everybody be knocking each other down. They open the door. Now, someone knocks at the door, everybody dives for cover.
Quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet.
Yeah, be right. I mean, think about it.
We don't exist.
So it's changed. But anyways, April, Patricia was talking about grounding, right? Well, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but what the hell. So I wound up doing the grounding thing. I did the Qigong thing, Remember how we're going up, and I went to Kelly and I turned my hands around this way, coming up for a better stretch, Oh man, I tell you what, it's awesome. You got to try it. He said, yeah, we used to do that, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so I get these good stretches. And after the workout, I'm on a concrete floor, barefooted, and you can really feel it. But after that night, and it's been about way before I got sick and all, but I woke up the next day and got 100 on my sleep, which I never had. It was just really,
Wow.
it was just nuts. I mean, I had such a good sleep. I'm like, could that have done that? And then I've hit upper 90s since I started doing it. I don't know.
Nice.
I'm just throwing it out there. It relaxes me.
The Qigong, it rewires the body and the nervous system. That's what it does. So I have a course that I'm in right now. It's called Zainen Qigong. It's not what they have done. It's similar, but it's not what they do. But it actually rewires the nervous system. So it could very well have been just those few, and it's amazing because it does take only a few movements, and it's
Yeah.
not intense movements either. It is very light, subtle movements. You're not working out really, and they really do have profound effects.
And the concrete's cold, and in the winter it's even colder. It just changing every year, but I deal with it, you know, and it's just because, well, this makes me more conscious. I'm feeling the cold feet, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what? Beats the
Yeah.
cold snow story, right, gang? Remember I told you about
Yeah.
walking in the cold stuff? Anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, what a breakthrough. And here's another thing. I finished up therapy with the with this counselor that I got through that cancer group and all, you know. And I'm like, you know, do you think this is like going on for a long time, right? I mean, you know, I got the, and she says, yeah, oh yeah, it really has. And I'm like, well, I mean, I ain't paying for this. I mean, they're paying you. I mean, you know, I'm starting to feel guilty here.
Mm.
She says, no, we've been taking notes on you. I said, what do you mean? And I'm like, the hell is that supposed to mean? She says, you have no idea how much we've learned with you. And I'm like, because she was mindful, and I'm, you know, you guys being there from, I mean, a couple of years ago, I was like clueless, you know. I mean, I'll never forget when someone said, "Oh," when Kelly said, "Oh, it's your ego." I felt like coming through the screen, like, "Yo, I'll show you some ego." You know what I mean? I was just like, I was taking it wrong, you know. And then when I really got it, I'm like, God, man, it just, you know, it was rewarding. But she's telling me, this woman, so we did the last session. She says, she's had over 1,000 patients, and she said they've never, every one of them is miserable, except for me. It was the most interesting thing that you know.
Hmm.
I'm like, huh? And just and it really, and all the pain wasn't there. Like I was telling you last time about trying to breathe through your hand that Puni and turned me on to, but it's easy to do when it's in your throat. You know what I mean? Breathe through your throat, but it did help. But with everything that's happened, I felt like I cheated cancer because I got so conscious, you know?
Mm.
I mean, really. I mean, because I didn't react. I didn't, you know, I thought I was a goner, man, you know, a couple times, you know, but it didn't even bother me, you know, which I've always had you know, like Trisha, I've had enough anxiety in my life to kill a horse, you know, and we can go down that road. Well, I mean, one time we could have went down that road and just had an anxiety attack thinking about death, you know, but you know, it's a transfer of energy now, from what I understand,
Mm. It is.
you know.
Yeah.
Transmuting suffering into consciousness.
Mhm.
Thank you, Hugh.
Yeah.
Kishori asked a question, April. My apologies. I did not see the question until now. And if you want to answer it, what if one feels like not doing anything, feeling empty, overwhelmed? It's almost like a spell. And when one understands, is actually aware of what needs to be done and practices presence and surrendering, which helps, but then you are not on it, not of it, and again keeps feeling empty. You're not, you are out of it and again keeps feeling empty.
Yeah. That's depression. That's like perfect explanation of depression. Depression also manifests as anger, though. A lot of times people think depression is I don't want to get out of bed, but actually, depression usually manifests as anger, irritation, grumpiness, impatience, intolerance. That's actually depression. But what she's talking about is the not feeling like doing anything, feeling empty, overwhelmed. It's a lot of it's depression. It's also procrastination. Overwhelmed is anxiety. Things are too much. So having the awareness that you're in it is awesome. It doesn't actually fix the emotions that are going on, but awareness is the first step. I used Eckhart when I was stuck in that. I used him. I would just listen to him day in and day out. And the first task truly is to keep listening, keep practicing, is to get up. That is the first if you can just make yourself get up, and it's truly the hardest part, because most people, once they get up and they get going, they're going, like they're doing. It's the getting up that's actually the hardest part. So, and the body, again, for whatever reason, does like to be addicted. It likes to be lazy. And the more you sit there, the more you get trapped in it. So, and what you're telling yourself as you're sitting there, there's an overall story, there's an overall emotion, and realizing that that's not true. Whatever it is you're telling yourself and whatever it is you're feeling, like this is too much, I can't do this, what's the point? Those are not true statements. So pulling yourself into presence would be good, because most of the, like I'm saying, you're telling yourself a story, or you're repeating a pattern, as Joe Dispenza would say. So presence power would work, it would help, but we still, there's a pattern of being in depression or being in procrastination. The overwhelmed, again, is anxiety. It's where you're looking at the totality of everything. And what you do with that is you break it down. So if I have a kitchen full of dishes, I break it down and I say, I'm just going to do the cups. That's it. I'm just going to do the cups. I'm not going to worry about everything else. Somebody once was like, okay, but if I'm doing the dishes, like, and I rinse them, and like, how am I going to put them all on the rack? We're just washing the dishes. We're just doing that part. Okay, you literally break it down into smaller parts, which helps to where you can at least get going. If you think of the whole, then the stories will start and you won't move. So,
I also heard that what helps is knowing why we're doing certain things. So in the moments when you're
Right.
doubting, and it's like, why do you want to stay alive? You have that reason that keeps you alive and keeps you motivated, and bring that in. So I know that Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi made it that 7 levels deep, that you actually, asking yourself deeply and deeply, but why do you want to do this? But why is it important? Why? It's like it's going on. And at the level 7, I actually went through this a few times, and you actually, like, all of a sudden either crying or it hurts. It's really, you're digging deeper, and then it's supposed to help you in those moments when your energy is low and you just want to check out from this life. But then is that you're doing it because you love your daughter. I don't know, or you promise to something to show up, or there is something that will
Or
keep you
like Joe,
going.
or like Joe Dispenza, doing what you hate, right? To unwire that.
yeah.
And I mean,
Well,
that's
and the first thing here is like,
The will to
not
live.
doing anything and feeling empty. So there's that empty or that loneliness. And is that actually true? Are you actually empty and lonely? Or is it an empty, like there's no emotion, nothing inside? And then you can ask, like, why do I have that? Is that actually real and true? But you're never actually empty or alone, because you have a soul.
Exactly.
And
I don't know what's up with all these people. Their inner being is always with them, right?
but
Why
they
do
don't
say?
feel it. So yeah. So I would do some work on connecting to source, connecting to your higher self, because you always have a soul. You are part of source. But people, they just don't feel it because they think their worth is outside of them, or they think their worth is in people, not within themselves.
Mhm.
Their worth is within what they do, how much money they have, what kind of, just
You're
like
right. So you don't have someone to witness your being every day with you, then you kind of left,
but you're
like
not
that's,
here
I
for
think,
that,
where
because you're here on your own soul purpose. So you're technically only here for yourself anyways. you're here for your own sole purpose. It doesn't mean that you're not nice, and it doesn't mean you don't help humanity and you don't help consciousness. However, at the end of the day, you are here on your own soul journey. So you and your own soul are the only one that matters anyways, as far as opinion goes, or as far as acknowledgement. It's only you and your soul.
But
When you
how
get
is
back on
it
the
to
other
be all
side,
one?
when you get back on the other side, Poonam's soul is not going to be like, I just, I missed all that you did. Poonam's soul is not going to have that conversation with your soul. It's going to be your soul and your guides. What did we do? How well did we do it? How much did we grow? Giving your knowledge to the all, to the source. It's nobody else is going to be involved.
So is it okay to do it with different speed that I can just like accelerate? So, like, is it okay to slow down? I just don't know.
Yeah, you can slow down if you want. I mean, you can do whatever it is that feels right for you.
Yeah.
If you feel like going slow, go slow.
Her
If
her
you-
ego talks, like I can hear her ego talk to her. I can hear her ego talking her out of trying to go in for her spiritual growth. April, you're not seeing
Yeah.
that.
No, I mean, it is okay. You can go as
No,
slow
it's
as you
not
want.
okay. No, it's not
But-
okay because she's listening to her ego.
What's going to happen though, Poonam? What's going to happen is the universe is going to speed her up anyways. If that's where her soul's supposed to go, the universe is going to speed you up anyways, because that's where you're supposed to go. Again, this is a deal, contract, mission, purpose, just between you and your higher self, you and your soul. It doesn't have anything to do with me or Poonam or anybody else. So if you are supposed to get to a certain spot in your lifetime and you are dragging your feet, then something will happen, right? Doesn't always have to be negative. And you'll get there, right? Or you won't, and you'll come back and do second grade again.
Is it true that it can be opposite, that you want to speed, and the universe will slow you down? It's like,
Sure.
wait, you're not ready. We will get you a
Absolutely.
little bit on detour here because you're not ready to get that next step.
It's a journey for sure. It's a journey, but it's not really about being afraid of whether I'm going fast or I'm going slow. It's about opening up and then allowing the teachings to come to you. And if you weren't ready for the teachings, they wouldn't have been presented to you.
I devoured The Power of Now, every single word and sentence when I read it.
Right.
So
But the,
when somebody's talking about acceleration, it is more about brain and heart coherence. So the more in brain and heart coherence you are, the more you'll just get a sensation of, look how the universe is actually just working along with me. It's just a flow state that the next day is going to next day. You will not find any resistance. Oh, this is not where I should be, or this workplace is not where I should be. You'll be in the perfect spot, in the perfect place at all times, right? Just like Dean Graziosi
Right.
is, or Tony Robbins is. What are they teaching? They're teaching you to be in this flow state. Like right now, you're in a job that you don't really like, right? You're not like having a joyful time every moment of your time, right? There are certain conflicts that are going on at the job. You're exposed to certain unconsciousness at the job, right? It's not a perfect situation. So that means you're in the wrong place. So you want to manifest, what you want to manifest is to be in the perfect spot. And what I would say to, wouldn't you say this, April, to Kishori or to Patricia? What I find, like I've been doing this since 2016, wanting this group to grow spiritually, right? Like with passion. I bring it every day, and I've after 2 or 3 years, I started the whole group meditation. We started videos, little teaching lessons, so that people would like get some of Eckhart's teachings, right? And then we started the Facebook Lives, whatever, 3-4 years back, right? Who is? So the best thing to do to get out of any kind of rut is to give back to something, like find some place to, like what Kishori is saying, right? One feels like not doing anything. Find
Hey,
somewhere.
you know what? Just what you just said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm working with a 80-some-year-old lady that's she same thing. She can't get out of bed. She's all miserable, depressed, and all that. So I gave her the Power of Now, and you want to talk about? She went into laughter. She's walking. She's up, and she really resonated because she went to AA, and there's some mindfulness stuff in AA that I found out from my daughter when she went through it, and then I realized she was mindful before I was. But anyways, it's amazing to see.
But not everybody, you hand them Power of Now. I'm sure Kishori is aware of the Power of Now, right? The moment, the fact that you give them the Power of Now, that they're ready to read it and actually put the
I'm saying
way,
that.
the way I would say is,
No, I'm just saying she's just she's really responding to it, like
right,
into
but do you think if you give Kishori or anybody that is in that state of feel like not doing anything, that they're just going to start opening and consuming Power of Now?
I'm positive. If you want to be negative about it, go right ahead.
No, no,
You know what I mean?
it's not. The Power of Now is not something that everybody is ready for. I can
Yeah,
categorically
that's what we
say
were saying in the beginning. Right.
they're not ready for the Power of Now. She can Patricia suggested that the Presence Process by Michael Brown, Terry Potter and Shuma that do workshops with us had suggested this book called The Presence Process. Kishori, you can try this Presence Process. Depression is because of heavy metals in the body. I would strongly recommend Anthony Williams's protocol. Do the heavy metal detox smoothie, do the celery juice, do the lemon water, celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie. That in itself, the protocol in itself will bring that life force because you're eating something that has life force in it back into your body, right? And give to somebody, right? Find a way to give, find a way that your life becomes meaningful. Like you've had 20, whatever your age span is, right? 20, 30, 40 years that you've been on earth, life has given you experiences and that experience is helpful to somebody, right? So find somebody that maybe has gone through the same illness that you have gone through. Find somebody, some way of giving to a community. The moment you get into that cycle of giving, right? It is the most rewarding experience because you want to give some more. And then you get into this thing of wanting to give, like, why does April show up week after week? How many years has it been, April? For free. She's not charging for
I think
this
it's 3 now.
3 years, right?
I think it's been 3 years now, yeah.
I mean, year after year, it's not like 1 month. It's not like 1 week. It hasn't been 1 week. It hasn't been 2 weeks. It hasn't been 2 months. It's been 3 years. I've been doing this since 2019. It's been 5 years, right? 5 years showing up, no matter you're sick, you don't want to get up, get out of bed, you get up and you show up for people, right? Actually, I don't ever get into the I don't want to get out of bed kind of situation, but I'm just saying you show up for people, right? You make sure that your schedule is changed. Like I know by Wednesday, by 4 p.m., I need to cut off my work so that I'm ready for a Facebook Live. Like your whole schedule, find a way. Like find a way that come to the Facebook Live, show up for the Facebook Live, give your life opinion, right? Come join us for group meditation. Make that a priority, right? Just like Patricia makes it a priority. She's been coming to group meditation for 3 years, right? Every week, every Friday, she's there. And she contributes, she helps other people. She asks questions here, she helps us here. Hughes helps us here. April, Kelly, actually started before April started, right? April?
Mhm. Yep.
So
Yep.
it's like they've been doing this for 3-4 years. So first, do something for somebody else, and you'll find a reason why you should live.
Yeah, that presence power practice will help connect you to source and to the divine too, which in itself to me will fulfill you. When you realize that you are connected to source and that there's a part of you that's divine, then you are never alone. You're never truly alone. It's your thinking that's telling you you're alone. The ego, the pain body.
Pain body, yes, that's
Hey,
exactly.
hey, April,
Yeah.
so we got 3D, we got 2D, we got 3D. How do we skip 4D and go to 5D? We can't. We're actually in somewhat of 4D. We can't actually skip. You can't Oh, so
actually
there is a
skip it.
4D.
You got to learn to be more present. You have to be more conscious, more aware, and then we have to be able to take on more light.
So 4D is time, because 3D is, you know, like 3 dimension, but 4D adds the
Right.
time.
Right.
5 just completely
space,
go
yep.
into no time at all.
Yeah, we can't actually skip fourth dimension, but fourth dimension, like it is like Patricia's saying, it's kind of a funny one because it is actually, there's many out there that teach that it's about it's time. And you get different teachers that say different things, but
Yep.
we can't actually skip it in a way, but we're kind of going through all of them at right now, third, fourth, and fifth, all at the same time.
Have you ever felt someone's in front of somebody that died, and did you ever feel their the aura that you speak of, the energy? Did you ever feel it?
I can actually, I see the auras. I can see auras, but I see them in my mind. I don't see them out in front of me like a picture. It's a picture in my mind. So I can actually kind of see into people's aura. People on the other side don't ever show me an aura necessarily. I do see colors from the other side, but I don't necessarily see, I mean, I can tell what their energy is, but I don't ever really see their aura. Auras are more for here, and I can see them. I can see into people's chakras, and I can see if they're like out of balance or if they're not spinning right. They're too big, too small, too deep. I can
I mean,
see that.
I had a experience where I was watching my father die, right? And
Mhm.
we're in there, it was a bunch of us, and they just checked him, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm like this, I'm going, whoa, man! I just felt like this. It was like a vortex, or like a tornadic like feeling coming right through me. And I'm an HVAC guy, right? So I'm looking around, going, "That's a hell of a chill," And
Oh,
there's no vents, there's no nothing, and I'm like, oh, "What was that, man?" I said, "Is he check him?" And they said, "We just did." They checked him, and he was gone. So it was just like, I don't know. It was.
that's common to get that cold feeling, that cold sensation from somebody. Yeah,
Yeah, it was really something.
yeah, yeah.
So it made a believer out of me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole different world. I've had, different things happen. I've experienced light language. That was a very interesting experience where you're talking and don't know what. That was very interesting. So yeah, but
Since April talked about auras, I was another reminder to Kishori and Patricia is, leave alone selfless giving to other people. The other part is the fact that we are multisensory, multidimensional beings. If anybody wants to learn, like April is just mentioning one thing, auras. If you read Dolores Cannon's books, The Convoluted Universe, you'll find out that there's dimensionality, like there are beings that vibrate at the level of the sun. They can live in the sun. We think that the sun is so hot, but they live in the sun. They're dimensional beings that live in other suns. They're dimensional beings that live on other planets, right? They can be dimensional beings that are completely metallic in form. There's so much to this whole universe. We are so caught up in this illusion of what is this three-dimensional world that we are not even considering the multidimensionality. And that is the whole reason why I keep doing Dr. Joe's work, because he talks about this multisensory, multidimensional being status, right? Like he's experienced it. So I'm like, okay, if I keep up with his work, then maybe there will be times that I can experience that multidimensionality. So, I mean, there's so much to this universe. There's so much to this cosmos that I can't even express.
Sure.
And maybe it's time that we close as well, because it's getting late for Patricia. And I know April, it's getting late for you and you too. So as always, incredibly amazing conversation. I don't know, we started off with one place, we ended in another place. So eternally grateful to all of you for showing up. Jonathan, Kishori, Summer, and Dave Horn were with us. So many blessings. Much love. We meet in 2 weeks.
Good night.
Thank you.
See
Good
ya.
night.
Bye.
Bye.